grew up in a loving environment. It was easy. You didn't have to. You didn't have to listen out of fear. It was a loving environment. It's easy to surrender out of love and respect. Then when you grow up, it becomes easier to surrender as well in life. So what children really need is a loving environment, more than all those practices I was sharing. So in this chakra, I think so all these are common. Coma, migraines, brain tumors, amnesia, delusions, cognitive delusions. These are some of the disorders. I just want to put this slide out. It's just a summary. The first two chakras, they deal with the unconscious mind, okay? The instincts, they deal with the instincts, okay? Because if I'm hungry, I can't stop my hunger, right? I'm just hungry, right? It comes from the body instincts. When I'm tired, I need to rest. It's just coming from the body. Feelings also, they come from the body, they come from the unconscious. They are natural, okay? If I feel like crying, it's my natural emotions. Whatever comes from the body is natural, right? It feels like tiredness, hunger, all these are natural. And then when you move on to the third, fourth, and fifth chakra, this is when the ego comes in, the consciousness. Your consciousness comes in and starts interacting with the outside world. Your mind starts developing. Okay, if you are born in a Hindu family, you have a Hindu mind. Chinese family, Chinese mind. Communist family, communist mind, communist country. So you start interacting with the outside world. Your experiences are integrated based on your consciousness. And then when you reach the sixth chakra, you start reflecting symbolically. Okay, the symbols you receive, they still come from your unconscious mind. Because, like Pradeep said, at the beginning, when you start meditating, the third eye is not yet perfected. Okay, it's not yet perfected. You're still receiving messages, visions, which you don't quite understand. Okay, they are symbolic and still in the unconscious. And when you reach the crown chakra, your understanding is conscious. Okay, this is the real transformation. Your real self-healing, self-transformation comes with conscious understanding. Your own understanding, your own transformation, your own experience will transform you, and you realize, aha. Some people call it the aha moment. A lot of spiritual teachers call this the aha moment. You have an aha moment. That's your conscious understanding, and that's the real transformation that you experience in life. Okay, so you can't go to a healer to give you that. Okay, this comes from within. Okay, so this is just a summary, and thank you all for the opportunity to share. Thank you very much.
Okay, so now it's time to summarize. You see, the first chakras takes so much time, but as it is going higher and higher, it's easy to work on it. Because unless you work on this one, that you cannot work on. So there was as I told you, it's like an energy. It crisscrosses all the chakras. So each and every chakra is connected to another chakra. So for example, one is connected to the 2, one is connected to the 6, 2 is connected to the 4, 3 is connected to the 5. So it's all connected. And again the 7. After you reach the 7, what happens? I told you, right? After you reach the 7, you go back to the 4th. So every chakra is connected to every chakra. So you can work on all the chakras simultaneously. Okay? You can work on all this. But you need to understand where it is coming from, and then you can understand the link between it, and you can work on it simultaneously. So now we are in the 7th chakra. So in the 7th chakra, as Navneet said, we don't need to worry about the deficient. Because the deficient people, they cannot come to this kind of class. They are not open, they are rigid. They have a very rigid belief system. And they feel they are always right. And so we don't need to. And also, if they are excessive in the lower chakras, what is excessive in the lower chakras? They are too materialistic. They are overly materialistic. So then this chakra becomes deficient. So we don't need to worry about this. And let us go to excess. So there is a possibility we go into this category. So how do we balance this? How do we work on this chakra?
Meditation is the only way.
Meditation is a pull. What is the push? In the sixth chakra, what is the push?
Root chakra. Root chakra.
In the sixth chakra, in the third eye chakra, what is the push? You do a reality check. You always do a reality check. Okay? You use your common sense. And you do a reality check. All the time you do a reality check. You don't blindly believe in anything. Okay? That is the push. What is the push in the first? Face the fears. What is the push in the second? Non-judgmental, forgive, witness, all those things. What is the push in the third? Yes. What do you need to do for self-respect? You have to connect to yourself. You have to connect to yourself. Connect to yourself means you have to spend time with yourself. You really have to spend time with yourself. I give this example normally. If I want to know about you, what should I do? I really want to know about you. What should I do? I should spend time with her. I should make friendship with her. Then
Ask questions.
I will get to know about you. So if I want to know about me, then I should spend time with myself. I should make friendship with myself. The more I make friendship with myself, the more I respect myself. Okay? So the push in the third chakra is spend time with yourself. And what is the push in the fourth? Fourth chakra, heart chakra?
Joy.
What you need to do? Pull is the same. Okay? In all the chakras, the pull is the same. What is that? Meditation. The push? Service. Unconditional. Okay? Unconditional. And in the fifth? What is the push? Mauna. Deep silence. And in the sixth? The reality check. In the seventh? What you need to do? Yeah, let go of what?
Identity. It is attachment. Identity. It is means.
But unless you have the transformation, it is not possible to let go. That's why we have seen here in this one. Unless you consciously understand, it is not possible to let go. Is it easy to let go? It's not easy to let go. You need a lot of conscious understanding. You need to understand certain things to let go. You cannot simply let go, right? Just because somebody is saying let go, can you let go? No. You need a conscious understanding. So how do you get this understanding? How do you get wisdom? Yes, you are coming closer to the answer. How do you get wisdom? Give him a good round of applause. You know the difference between information, knowledge? Knowledge is information, right? You know the difference between knowledge and wisdom?
You explore the wisdom. Explore the knowledge.
Experience. The theoretical information is your knowledge. You know only the theory of it. You collected the information. You become a knowledgeable person. You become a knowledgeable person. But when you experiment it, and when you experience out of that experiment, when you get the experience, and when you understand that experience, that becomes your wisdom. So, wisdom is nothing but your distilled knowledge. It's a distilled information from your knowledge. So, the push in the seventh chakra is you have to experiment. Whatever you read or whatever you heard or whatever you learned, you have to experiment. See, you have attended this 2 days workshop, chakra workshop. You just attended, but you never experimented anything. You never experimented, facing the fears. You never experimented becoming a vegetarian. You are never experimenting letting go. You never experimented any of these things. Do you think any transformation will happen? No transformation. Just by listening, no transformation will happen. You can attend another 10 days workshop. Just by listening, no transformation will happen. If you just listen and go, probably you will be more confusing only. So many they have said in the 2 days. So more confusion only. But when you start experimenting, then out of that experiment, you get a lot of experience. That experience gives you this conscious understanding. Experiment is the first. When you experiment, you get experience. That is the second. Out of that experience comes enlightenment. That is the third. Experiment, experience, enlightenment. And what you do after enlightenment?
Enjoyment.
No.
You go back to service.
No. When you get enlightened, what happens?
Expansion.
Perfect. You evolve. You evolve. Soul expansion. You are going through an evolution process. So when you are going through this evolution process, what is happening? Enjoyment. So this is the 5E. 5E. Experiment, experience. You have to first begin with experiment. You begin with experiment. The experiment gives you experience. That experience gives you enlightenment. That enlightenment expands your soul evolution. Expansion happens. And with the process of expansion, you get enjoyment. The real enjoyment. Okay? So this is the push. This conscious understanding happens. This conscious understanding happens only when you experiment. If you blindly believe somebody, so that's why this 7th is after the 6th. You have to come out of all the illusions. Only when you come out of all the illusions, you are going to the conscious understanding. And this understanding, you see, always the enlightenment is represented in as a lotus, right? 1,000-petal lotus. Yes or no?
Yes.
Why?
Because that shows your expansion basically.
No, that is the dimension. That many dimensions you understand.
Yeah.
You don't understand in one dimension. You understand in 10,000 dimensions.
Yeah.
So that's why the enlightenment. So the enlightenment. You tell me the enlightenment is one process. Once you become enlightened, it's one petal opens.
Yeah.
So again, you do another experiment for another thing. You learn something else. Then another petal opens. So it is like a 1,000-petal lotus. It is like infinite. So that's why I said there is enlightenment after enlightenment. It's a continuous process. So there is every teacher also learns. Even a Buddha learns something. When he comes and teaches, he learns something. There is always something to learn. There is always something to experience. Maybe there is no learning, but there is some experience. With that experience, one more petal opens. Yes? Do you understand? So unless you experiment, whatever you know, it is of no use to you. If you don't experiment, you are simply collecting information like a garbage collector. You are collecting. Then you end up confused. You really end up confused. So you have to really experiment. So if I say 40 days meditation every day, you be a vegetarian and you meditate every day 40 days, your thoughts will reduce. You will experience deep meditation. If I say that, you should go and experiment. Because how do you know what I'm saying is correct or not? What is the proof? Your experiment will give you the proof. Thousands of people say thousands of things. How do you know which one is correct? Unless you experiment, you will not know. So, the very basic quality of any sincere spiritual seeker is to have a scientific temper. The word is called scientific temper. Scientific temper means your ability to experiment and find out the truth. That is scientific temper. Unless you have a scientific temper, you cannot understand life. You cannot understand yourself. You cannot come out of the illusion. And when you are understanding, when your petals are opening, what's happening? You are getting liberated. You are getting liberated from limitations, from your own sufferings. You understand the bigger picture. You understand what is life. You understand what is death. You understand the whole picture. You understand everything. Because it's conscious understanding. You consciously understand. When you consciously understand, you let go. Yes?
Just one question on this pictorial representation. These Bija Aksharas, which I have read and seen in so many spiritual books, do they really mean something? Or I really want to have your point of view on it.
I don't know. This slide is prepared by Navneet. Okay? She represented her own experimenting and experience in these slides. And my experience is whatever is channeled, whatever is given to me. Okay, whatever is my conscious understanding, I am explaining. So in detail, what is this mean? What is this mean? What is that mean? I don't know. And I have no curiosity to know also.
Obviously, it doesn't make it that seriously anyway.
Yeah, I have no curiosity to know, but there should be some meaning, or else they wouldn't have put it like this. Maybe I'll try to ask somebody.
They will have
to
some
find-
frequencies like Lam will have, it resonates in certain frequency, Om will resonate in the higher frequency, every
There's
sound
chakra
will vibrate.
Yeah, maybe.
Because
Maybe she is
if you
correct.
listen to that vibration frequency, the music also balances, it also helps to.
No, that is then
the
again
vibrational frequency.
That is again a misunderstanding.
Misunderstanding means you in meditation, because I read that somewhere.
No, I have experimented that. There is a misunderstanding. There are some musics for each and every chakra. You listen to that music, your chakra comes into balance. Is it possible?
No.
You listen to some music and you let go of your guilt.
No.
Can you let go of your attachments? No. There should be some other meaning. But listening to some particular music or particular vibration, it doesn't mean your chakras are getting into alignment, your chakras are coming into balance. No. This is a self-transformation process. Okay? So I have seen in the internet, there are a lot of different chakra musics. Those musics are very soothing, very healing, but doesn't transform. So for your question, there should be some meaning in it, but I exactly don't know what is that meaning. My understanding is all about how you can, because I worked on my chakras consciously. That's the way I can able to say the I can relate to that examples. I can share what I know to be 100% true. I'm sharing, but this I don't know.
Before you close, I think you are coming to closer. Before you close, would you again mention, which you mentioned yesterday, the different level of consciousness? I know it's a very premature question.
Different levels
of consciousness, nirvana and
Consciousness. Different levels of
after
consciousness.
enlightenment, the nirvana and
Did I say that yesterday?
was it about the
Bodies,
seven bodies?
like
Oh, seven bodies.
Yeah, that-
Yeah, 7 bodies. So physical, etheric, astral, causal. See what happens. You take birth. Again, I have to explain the soul science. Okay, how we are born. See, the soul comes as a speck. The soul comes as a speck and comes into the mother's womb, and then the baby is formed. Then again, the birth process and the journey starts, and then you grow old and you have a lot of experiences, and then eventually you vacate the body. So when you vacate the body, you are vacating the physical body. Okay, so we have 7 bodies, so you're vacating the physical body, and after some time you leave the energy body also here, you leave the etheric body also here. So you leave the physical body and you leave the etheric body, both here on the earth plane. And then you have an astral body. Now you are in the 3rd body. You have an astral body and you go to astral planes. Okay, so like we have a physical, this is the physical dimension, we have an astral dimension. So with the astral body, you go to an astral plane. Okay, and then you live for some time in the astral body, in the astral planes. And then you go to a second death. This is the first death. The first death is the physical. Then you go through a second death. The second death is in the astral body, in the astral worlds. And then after you go through the second death, now you are in which body? You leave the astral body there. Then you are in the causal body. So you take the causal body and go to the causal worlds. Okay, there you live, that is the accumulation point. You accumulate all the experiences of physical, astral and causal, you accumulate there, and there again the learnings happens. There you learn more what you are going to do on the planet Earth. So all those learnings happens there. So your real training happens there. Earth is more of a testing ground. Your actual training happens there. So then you go to the causal world and you live for some time, and then again you go through a third death. So you finish off the journey there, and if your soul evolution is to only to the minimum level, then from there you cannot go to the supracausal world. Supra means beyond causal. So you cannot go to the supracausal worlds. So again you take one more incarnation onto the physical world to have a physical body. So you go through this cycle, again birth, again death. Okay. So in this cycle, for example, you realized yourself. You realized you are not the body. You realized you are not the mind. You realized you are consciousness. You got enlightened. Then you go through again physical, astral, causal. Now you go to supracausal. Okay. So again you come back. Again from the supracausal you come back to the earth. The journey doesn't finish there. Again you come. So now you are enlightened, but there is still more. That is enlightenment after enlightenment.
So again.
So then you become a teacher. You start teaching. Okay? Whoever comes to you, you start teaching. You become a teacher of spiritual science. So when you successfully completed being a very good teacher of spiritual science, then the cycle repeats again. Physical, astral, causal, supracausal, then what is the sixth one? Nirvanic. So you go to if you go to the nirvanic, that means you are a very good teacher. You are teaching the truth. You are teaching the spiritual science. Okay. So you take each level you take few lifetimes to master the art. You take few lifetimes to go step by step. And finally, the seventh, to go to the seventh, that means you are not only teaching the people who are coming to you, you are going from house to house, street to street, country to country. You are going actively and you are teaching meditation. So in the nirvanic state, you are teaching to a small group. When you reach the Buddhic level, you are teaching to the whole of the planet Earth. You are creating a massive change on the consciousness of the planet Earth. So then you reach to that level. So this is enlightenment after enlightenment. So the journey is infinite.
It's a long way to go.
No, it's not a long way to go.
When you say fewer and fewer birth, that means like when
No, you have to learn that lesson. You have to finish that. Everything is an experience. Some people can take one lifetime, or some people can take 10 lifetimes. It is their choice. Okay? So we all have our free will, how many lifetimes we take. But on an average, the soul takes 400 lifetimes to get enlightened. Not one, not two, not three, 400 lifetimes on an average. From zero to, say for example, from 0 to 250, the soul is stuck here, 0 to 250. 0 lifetime to 250 lifetimes, the soul is stuck here. From 250, it starts going up. So by the time it reaches 400, it is on the seventh. Perfected. I'm saying about the balancing part. Okay. So this is the soul science. Like we have the physical age, like we have a baby, we have an infant, baby, youngster, teenager, elderly, old. So we have the age, right? Like that, the soul also has an age. On an average, the soul takes 400 lifetimes. It's just an average. Some souls, they can take only 100 lifetimes. In 100, they finish off everything. Or some souls, they take 800, 900. It is just an average. Okay? So this information I read in a book. Okay? A soul's journey or a soul's journey.
if we can put it on the
Yeah. I read in many books, but I resonated with it. I feel it is correct. Okay?
So what happens to the other forms of life when they die? What's the journey they take?
Okay, now again you are going into a soul evolution. I'll just quickly explain. We have mineral kingdom. On the earth, how many kingdoms we have? Mineral kingdom, plant kingdom, animal kingdom, human kingdom. Again in the human kingdom there are two categories, human and divine human. Okay, so there are 4. So it's like an evolution. Okay, one leads to another. It's like an evolution. From the mineral kingdom, it evolves into plant kingdom. From the plant kingdom, it evolves into animal kingdom. From the animal kingdom, it evolves to human kingdom. From the human, it evolves into divine human. That's when it reaches the 7th chakra state. Because if you don't know anything about yourself, you are just blindly living like an animal. You are just a human. The kingdom is changed, but you are still, most of the operations are like an animal. eating, survival, reproduction, that's all. So when you start questioning, who am I, what is this life purpose, when you start stepping into the enlightenment process, then you become a divine human. You are entering into a divine human category. Okay, this is one way. Like, if you take the animal kingdom, the cows, elephants, horses, dogs, these are all highly evolved animals. So their next incarnation is almost a human in the animal kingdom. Like we have Buddha, Jesus in the human kingdom, like we have crystals in the mineral kingdom. Crystals are highly evolved in the mineral kingdom. So like that, we have different kingdoms. And this is one way of evolution to reach the human kingdom. And there is another evolution where a person who goes to the Buddhic body, who takes the Buddhic body into the Buddhic world, once he reaches that, he places a speck of consciousness into the human. It's like, you are producing your son in the physically. Like that, the consciousness produces its own self. And then the human journey starts. So the evolution goes from down to up and also from up to down. Both the things happens. I'll tell you something interesting. On the earth, we have two evolutions parallelly going. There are two evolutions on the planet Earth. One is the mineral, plant, animal, human, divine human. The parallel evolution is the insects, the birds, the fish, the elementals, the angels, and the angelic worlds, the nature spirits. Before the angels, the nature spirits comes, then the angels, and then after angels, it goes back into the consciousness. It enters the Buddhic world. So there are two parallel evolutions. The birds and the fishes, they don't belong to our evolution. They are parallel evolution. They belong to the angelic worlds. They go into an angelic evolution. The nature spirits. Have you heard of the fairies?
Yeah.
Yeah, fairies, nature spirits, birds, fishes, elementals. Have you heard of elementals?
Yeah.
Elementals are huge creatures which are deep under the ocean. They are not visible to the humans. Okay, they are huge intelligent creatures. They are called elementals. So they evolve into angels, and then into beyond angelic worlds is back into the consciousness, into the oneness. So we have two parallel evolutions. Have you seen the birds? There are so many millions of birds, right? There are millions and millions of birds. But have you seen a naturally dead bird?
Naturally dead.
Accidental, yeah.
Yeah,
But
no.
naturally.
Where does the body go?
There are millions and millions of birds, right? Have you seen a naturally dead bird?
No. No.
What happens to them?
I wonder.
Once they finish their cycle, they convert their bodies into light bodies and go to Garda Lokas.
Really?
Have you seen
You see, conscious understanding. Huh? Okay? Excessive means?
But that way is,
Checking
because
Okay.
killing birds and killing fish and eating is
Yeah, but
so bad.
No killing whatsoever. You are interfering in others' evolution process.
No, but I have seen like there is something happens and there are millions and million birds died and they're, that kind of, so naturally dead, you are saying so.
Once you see the humans, or the animals, the humans or animals, once we finish our cycle, we leave the body on the earth, right? So these belong to a parallel evolution. So once they finish their lifetime on the earth, they disappear in thin air. The whole body disappears in the thin air. So that's a parallel evolution. Spirituality is vast, it's like a gold mine. The more you dig, the more it comes. Okay? If I have to explain in detail, it takes probably the next time I visit UK, I will take the soul evolution.
Yes.
Yes, sir. What is your question?
No, I was thinking about when you mentioned from life 0 to life 400. So the life 0, which realm it comes from?
It comes from the evolution. That's why I said from the animal kingdom, graduation into human.
So it
That's one
starts-
possibility.
Starts from minerals.
Yeah, starts from minerals. So the purpose of the mineral kingdom is to serve the plant kingdom. The purpose of the mineral kingdom is to serve the plant kingdom. The purpose of the plant kingdom is to serve both animal kingdom and human kingdom. The purpose of animal kingdom is not to serve, it is to make friendship with the animal kingdom, because only by making friendship the animal kingdom can graduate. The animal has to be totally in a friendly relationship with a human, then only the graduation happens. The dogs, the horses, the cows, they're all domesticated, highly intelligent beings. And they express their friendship to the humans.
How about the other pets like rabbits and the one which we...
Maybe they are one less. I'm saying
No,
this is the last evolution before they become
I
a human.
understand. My question is like when you tame a rabbit or a cat or maybe a snake or people do have.
Yes.
So when they are contacting with the human world, they are making friendship.
They are
So
making
do they go to directly to or
No,
they become
the next lifetime they have to take one of these friendly animals. They have to be totally domesticated. They have to become vegetarian. They have to become vegetarian. You see the elephants and cows, they are vegetarian. Horses are vegetarian. Dogs and cats, by naturally they are vegetarians. Dogs and cats, they are introduced during the time of Atlantis. Originally they are vegetarians, but the earth consciousness fell, so they started eating meat. They started consuming the fear energy. Okay? We have experiments where a cat has been placed under a pyramid for 2 months. The cat stopped eating meat. The cat has become vegetarian. The cat is eating fruits. The cat is eating vegetables. The dogs is the same. The dogs are very sensitive. You can notice if the owner of the dog is a vegetarian, the dog also becomes vegetarian. You can notice it. Yeah, these are all proved science.
I've seen that.
So how is milk as a food?
Hmm?
The milk, animal milk, say cow's milk.
See, if you are treating the cow with a lot of respect and love, the animal gives the milk the animal produces the milk for its baby. Yes? So after the baby drinks the milk, it kicks the baby out. I say, finished. Your quota is finished. Milk supply stops. And then it generates the milk for the second time out of gratitude for the master. You have had cows in your house back then in Sri Lanka?
Yes.
So you would have noticed it. You see, the cow is a highly evolved being because the master, we the humans, take care of the cow. Okay? In India, that's why we call a holy cow, because cows are part of the family.
Yeah.
We respect them and we take care of them as a family member. We feed them, we bathe them, we take care of them. So the cow wants to repay back. The cow is full of gratitude. So you see, we had a lot of cows in our house when we were growing up. If you go and milk the cow directly before the baby drinks, the cow will kick you. First, you have to always let the baby drink. And the baby drinks for 10 minutes. And then after that, the cow will kick the baby out. Because the milk supply stops. It kicks out. After that, when you go start milking, the magic happens. The cow produces milk again out of gratitude. So that is that energy is the milk of gratitude and love. That milk is good for health. But if you are having a milk from factory farming, where there is so much of cruelty, where the baby is born and the baby is separated from the mother and they sent to the slaughterhouse, and you are just simply putting the machines and sucking the milk, you are literally sucking the blood. So that milk has no energy. That's why in the Western world, more people become vegan. Veganism was not it's not in the East, it's only in the West because of the cruelty towards animals. Okay? So a lot of things keeps on going. Okay. Any other questions, my dear friends, on these chakras?
Is there any element associated with the seventh one?
No, it is beyond.
Beyond.
It is beyond. Because until the sixth, you are in the circle, you are in the cycle, you are in the loop. Until the sixth chakra, you are in the loop. In the seventh, it is liberation. There is no element associated with that.
So basically, Sahasrara is not over here on your Brahmaganti, it's basically up here, is it?
No. It is just above your head. It is just touching, just above your head, on top of your head. It's not above, it's just here. Yes, sir.
What are the recent books you read and can you recommend any?
Yes. You have to read A Soul's Journey by Peter Richelieu. Please note down this book. A Soul's Journey by Peter Richelieu. I have read, among all the books I have read, this is one of my favorite books. It is a perfect spiritual textbook for all the spiritual seekers.
In the Gujarati sir?
It's in English, it's in very simple English. The story, it's a very beautiful, it's a real story. A Soul's Journey. Peter Richelieu. Richelieu.
How you spell Rishalu?
R-I-T, what is the spelling? You show that message.
R-I-C-H-I-L-I.
R-I-C-H-I-L-I-E-U. Rishalu, Peter Rishalu. You can
Share in
Google
the
it.
group. You can Google it. You will get it.
Or you do
I'll
one
share in the
thing.
group.
I will give the list of books, maybe the top 10 books or the top 20 books. I will give the list to Ravikant.
I'll
In
send-
fact, I already sent him the list long back, so he can forward you.
I'll
But
forward
among
you.
all the books, this is my favorite. If you want to understand about the soul, if you want to understand about the soul journey, if you want to understand about karma, if you want to understand what happens after death, if you want to understand about the astral worlds, the causal worlds, if you want to understand about the parallel worlds, you have to read this book. It's a very beautiful book. It's a very simple book. It's not this big. No, it's a very small book, and it's a real story.
Here it is.
Here, this is the PDF I got if you want to.
Just show.
I don't know if it is copyrighted or you can tell the spelling. Soul's Journey by Peter Rishalu.
Peter Rishalu is R-I-C-H-E-L-I-E-U.
Say that again?
All of you can.
And this book has a London connection.
R-I-C-H-I?
This book has a London connection.
R-I-C-H.
There are-
E-L-I-E-U.
It's a beautiful book because it happened. This book was written during the Second World War or just after the Second World War. There were two brothers. They were originally from London, and one of the brothers was an Air Force pilot or something in Royal Air Force. Another brother was living in Colombo, Sri Lanka, and so this brother dies in the aircraft during the war. He dies. So the other brother goes through a lot of grief and pain and suffering. He almost, gives up his life, and he was going through a lot of grief in Sri Lanka. So one day, he was in his room with all the doors closed, and suddenly a person appears. All the doors were closed, and suddenly, out of nowhere, a person suddenly appears, physically manifest. And then he was like taken into total shock. And then it's like, what is this? Who are you? Then the person introduces himself. He appears like an Indian guru. Okay, so he introduces, I have come here to teach you something or to support you. Then he asked, why are you so sad? He said, I'm sad because my brother is no more. I'm so attached to my brother. So I want to meet him. Then he says, okay, I will take you to your brother. So I'll come tomorrow, I'll take you to your brother. So then he disappears. So the next day he comes and he gives a small tablet. And he says, okay, you take this tablet and then you sleep, I will come and I'll take you. So he takes the tablet, he lies down, and suddenly he goes into a deep sleep. Then his astral body comes out. Then the guru comes and takes the astral body, takes him to the astral worlds, to where his brother was. You read the book. I don't want to give you much of a story because the book has a London connection. In the book there is a beautiful description of London. Okay? A Soul's Journey by Peter Rishalu. That is the perfect textbook for any spiritual seeker. And I will ask Ravi Kiran to send a list of books, whatever the list of books you need to read. Yes.
Like as from the childhood we have faith, we are worshipping different gods.
Hmm.
Like when we are just doing this meditation, we are not praying God or remembering God. So is it okay? So sometimes we feel, when we are doing meditation, we are not remembering.
Who said you have to remember?
Since childhood we have believed that we have to remember.
So you have come out of it. Come out of it. Come out of your belief systems. Have a scientific validation. I was born in a Hindu family. I'll tell you my little bit of my journey. I was born in a Hindu family. Very traditional, very conservative. Okay, I used to ask, who is God? Where is God? I was born in a Hindu family, but I studied in a Christian school. At home they say Krishna is God, Ganesha is God, and whatnot. Many, many gods are there. But I was studied in a Christian missionary. They say Jesus is the only Son of God. I was like, okay. And then all my friends are Muslim. The people who are sitting next to me, they are Muslim people. They say Muhammad is the messenger, Allah is only the God. I was like, there's so many gods. So I used to go and ask my mother, who is God? There are so many gods. Then my mother said, all are gods, and God is something beyond all these people. whoever people believe they are God, the real God is something beyond that. So I had this like, okay, there's something beyond. So I always had this tolerance from my childhood. Okay, you are God. Okay, fine, you are God. But real God is something beyond. So this was my understanding. And I was just remembering when she was going through this seventh chakra, as a small child, I used to ask my mother, where did I come from? I was a very curious child. Where did I come from? Who am I? So my mother used to say, you came from my tummy. But then I asked my mother, how did I enter your tummy? Why I was not born in the neighbor's house? Why I was born in this house? So when I asked my mother, how did I enter your tummy? My mother said, I don't know that. She was very honest. She said, I don't know that. Only a yogi knows that, all those things. Only a yogi knows all those things. But one day you will know. This is what she said. When I was a small child, she said, I don't know. I'm not a yogi. Only a yogi knows all those truths. But one day you will know. So that instilled a confidence in me. When I grow up, I'm going to go to Himalayas and I will find my truth. So this was my understanding as a child. But I didn't go to Himalayas. My understanding, my truth happened in Melbourne.
Okay. Recently, from 2012 onwards, that period, hearing due to DNA.
Sorry, 1 second. I didn't complete your question. Sorry. So, at the time, I'll come back to you. So, at the time, whatever my family practices are, religious practices are, I followed it very sincerely until I was in the age of, 21, 22. Until that time, I used to follow every single practice religiously. Going to the temples. I used to do Anga Pradakshina also. You know what is Anga Pradakshina? Okay, you roll around the temple, bare body. They say if you do that, you will connect to God. I really want to connect to God, so I did that. No connection. So then I used to go to Sabrimala. 20 days, 21 days. I used to walk, trek, and every sort of whatever they asked me to do, they say if you do this, you will reach God. If you do this, you will reach God. So I did every single thing. 100%, but I didn't connect to God. So that's why it is easy for me to experiment something new. Because whatever my parents told, I already experimented. Nothing came out of it. So again, use this. Whatever your tradition says, I don't know what is your tradition, what is your religion. Whatever your tradition says, whatever your religion says, do 100% experiment and find out the truth.
I did.
Did you got anything?
No.
Then why you ask me this question?
We are not remembering God, I'm not doing this.
So you did the experiment, right?
Since childhood, but we are doing Jyot, puja, what? If I stop that one day, I didn't do that.
That is the fear.
Yeah.
That is the fear consciousness. Okay? That is the fear consciousness. You have to let go of the fear consciousness, or else you are stuck in the root chakra. In fact, all the religions, all the major religions you take, first thing they do is they instill the fear.
Yeah, that's what they do first.
The first thing they instill, even I remember, as a small child, I said, why should I come to the temple? I said, if you don't come to the temple, God will, put the sulam in your eyes. They used to say that. And even they make prasads, right, for the ceremonies and all. I want to eat. They say, no, you have to wait. If you eat before giving to God, God will do that to your eyes. They used to say all this. They instill a lot of fear, but I never believed in all those things because my mother didn't instill fear. I have to show my gratitude. If I'm like this today, I have to show my gratitude towards my mother. Because I come from a joint family, all my rest of my aunts and uncles, they spoke a lot of stupid things. But my mother didn't speak any stupid thing. She simply accepted, I don't know the truth. One day you will know the truth. So that is very, very important.
Yeah, it's just not a question. One of my friend took his little son to the temple, and Lord Ganesha, the child asked, why is this god got a tusk? He is the elephant god. The father said. Then the child asked him, son asked him, who came first, elephant or the god? He couldn't answer.
You see, it's an important question you're asking. You should come out of this fear, okay? It is unconsciously deep-rooted in you. You should come out of this fear consciousness. You see, is God a symbol of love or a God a symbol of fear? then why you need to fear God? Okay? I'm glad you asked this question rather than going home and getting confused. Where will God suit in this 7 chakras?
I'm doing meditation, then I'm thinking, oh, I'm not doing my chanting. I should do my chanting first. And then when I'm doing chanting, then I'm saying, oh, I'm not relaxing my mind. So I'm stuck between. So what should I do? What is the right path?
I'm not going to tell you what you should do. You know what to do. Because all this while you did chanting, now you try something different. Okay? If you are sincere and serious, you are, if you don't mind, how old are you?
Around 40.
Around 40. Okay. For 40 years, you tried something what your family has said. You know what the 40 years gave you.
Yeah.
Now you try 40 days. Okay? Thank you. Okay, friends. Thank you very much. So we will do, we will, if you want, we will do. Actually, we should finish off with a little meditation. So we can do a crystal meditation. For 15-20 minutes, we will do a crystal meditation and then we officially close the session. Before we close, oh, sorry. Yes, sorry.
No, I was asking, there are, I heard there are 12 chakras. Is that, what is the relation?
7 and above, all is one and the same. So they just expand layer by layer. That is more of a mind thing. It's all outside the body, you know, your greater capacity to connect to the cosmos and all those things. But everything comes under 7. You know, once you go into the experimenting mode, once you consciously understand, you don't need to do anything. Everything comes to you. Okay, 7 and above, all compressed into 7. Okay.
Well, you told petals, right?
Yes. It is like a galactic understanding. You go into a bigger understanding. So that is correct. So it comes under 7. 7 and above is all 7. Okay. Okay, guys. So you can sit wherever. I think you can sit in your own comfortable posture. No circle. I will place the crystal here in front of you, and we can meditate. You have 2 copies of this. Do you want to take home or give it to